This is Sharon here, the creator of Wild Women Healers, and this is the very first episode, a new experiment that I'm trying out called Wild Women Healers Live. I want to first start off by saying thank you so much to all the likes, the comments, the views, the shares, all the love that I've been getting on YouTube and on Instagram for the Wild Women Healers series. It is truly heartwarming. I read like every comment that comes through, and if I don't respond, I'm sorry, but I read them all, and they all are like so awesome to get to hear, to see that this project is doing what I set out to do, which is help people in some way or form through connection, through storytelling and sharing. So I want y'all to know that yes, I am working on the next season 3 of Wild Women Healers. I recently moved from New York to New Mexico, and it has taken me a little while to get settled in, to get used to the transition of life here in the Southwest. And so, but I've been thinking, I've been starting to gently reach out to people who I want to feature. And I have no exact dates or anything for you, but know that yes, I am working on it. But in the meantime, I thought up Wild Women Healers Live as a way to at least bring you some content that is still right up there on the same level, the same integrity and cool conversations that I get to have in the Wild Women Healers episodes. But this is an opportunity to talk to people that I really can't get to, that live really far in another country. It gets me to talk to more people. And again, I'm just looking at it as an experiment. I don't know how often I'm going to do it. I don't know how long I'm going to do it for. If you like it, cool, let me know. I do get a lot of emails from people saying that they want to be featured, but they don't give me their website or even Instagram. So if you are a healer or spiritual worker or a teacher or doing something really freaking cool that you want to talk about, and you feel like you are a wild woman healer or want to be featured, especially for these lives, feel free to send me an email. You can get at my contact page on my website, but please, I'm not going to look at anything that if you don't send me the link, because I don't know, it just feels like you're not really putting in that much of an effort if you're not at least sharing who you are and, you know, sharing some links. I'm not going to Google. Anyway, moving on. Thank you all for dealing with me. I rarely ever go on camera. This is also like a new world for me. I'm usually, you know, behind the scenes. A little bit about me for those of you that don't know. I'm a video editor professionally, producer, video editor, shooter. Have been so for the last a long time, like 15 or 20 years. I don't know. I've lost track. It's been a long time. And then on the side, I do Wild Women Healers when I'm not working full time. I do tarot, Reiki, energy work, breath worker, all that good stuff in my free time. And yeah, I think that's all I really want to share about all of that for now. Maybe as I get more comfortable, I'll share more stuff about my own journey. I want to note that I'm recording this on Sunday under the Aquarius Full Moon. And a little bit about that is I was doing some breath work earlier, getting ready for client sessions and stuff. And I kept getting this nudge, this like intuitive message about subtle medicine, subtle magic. And I think it's because a little bit, I've been going through this recovery, sort of long recovery of recovering from extreme burnout. And I think that a lot of us can probably relate. We all lived through a collective trauma of going through this pandemic together. And on top of that, 2020 brought all kinds of bullshit for people to reflect on and shadow side stuff up in themselves, or, you know, whatever it was difficult and it was suffering. And here we are through it, and tired, exhausted, weary. And so for me, what this fatigue is showing me are like old bad habits, old lifestyle stuff, really like also reminding me of the good habits that do help me. And so I think, like, you know, we've had 2 Aquarius full moons this month in Leo season, the beginning and the end of it. Woohoo, we're out of Leo season, thank God. Sorry to all the Leos out there, but what was happening for me is that I wanted to diagnose the chronic fatigue. I wanted to figure out what was the cause of it. And what's coming to light for me as I have gone through those motions is that it doesn't necessarily need a diagnosis. We all know, like, we've been through a lot, right? I know that I've personally been through hell and back, and, you know, I'm still standing and I'm stronger for it, but suffering. And I've been actually allowing this burnout time period to, again, like, be more of like a indicator, a pointer to the things that we're just well overdue to get rid of. Like, I quit smoking, not a small feat at all. And also, like, I think a lot of people talk about how great it is to quit smoking, but nobody tells you about how shitty it is for a little while. Like, there's the detoxing, right? That I just didn't even think about. Like, I don't know why. I knew that it's a drug, it's a plant medicine that I was abusing. Why would there not be a detox? Just didn't think about it. And mine hit me like a week after I quit. And for like a week, I felt like I had the flu or I was dying. But it was my body just, you know, doing what it's supposed to be doing. And so in the meantime, it also, this burnout reminded me of the things that help, like a daily practice, which I stopped doing. And it also showed me the strength of slowly healing. That's what I think these full moons, to bring it back to slow medicine, that's, you know, the Aquarius is the star card in the tarot. And it used to be one of my favorite cards. I love the idea of like healing and slowly like crying it out. But as I've gotten older and experienced it more, it's not as romantic as that. It's really the slowness of healing, the slow pace of getting better and gently feeling better, like how using supplements or plant medicine or herbs or Reiki or acupuncture, all of these things I've been doing, it's cumulative, right? Like, you don't just like take an Advil and feel better with, you know, like St. John's wort, or with, I don't know, just adding any kind of like herbal tea. Like, these things help initially, but they also help over time. And that is what I think is the story behind the star, the Aquarius, the message of this full moon is to allow yourself to heal at your own time, in your own rhythm, and to heal in a slow and steady way that is lasting. And so a few things that popped up for me that, you know, reflection questions, if you're into that kind of thing. What is healing and what is good for all beings? So like Aquarius, it's, you know, about the collective. So what is healing for me that's also healing for everybody else? Like Ram Dass says, I work on myself in order to help others, and I help others in order to work on myself. The only thing that I can do for another living being is to clean up my house, right? So how can I heal myself in order to help the collective? And how can I give and help to others, nature, animals, in order to receive and heal myself? And I would add to that now too, as I'm talking about it out loud, is how can I take the pressure off this due date, this arbitrary due date that I created for my own healing? How can I just take that label off? What space does that create? And so this brings me back to what I'm really excited is to show you the interview that I had with Claire Law of Indie Rituals. We met on Instagram, and she is so lovely. It took a little, scheduling to figure out how to meet, because she's in Australia and I'm in New Mexico, and she's like basically in the future, like when we're talking, it's the next day. So, but we had a really great conversation. She's a really sweet lady, filled with lots of wonderful knowledge. And I'm really excited to share that with you. Claire and I specifically talked a lot about burnout and how to avoid it, which is funny. It just like sort of came together, that theme. And also the subtleties and the intuition that the body holds, like really talking to the parts of your body, the pains, the tickles in the throat, that are just indications of something in yourself that needs attention. And so that's sort of what I'm going to do with these Wild Women Healer lives, is to maybe do like a little blurb about whatever's going on in the world, or my world or your world, and followed by a cool interview with somebody. And I promise to try to keep them under an hour, because I want them to be sort of podcast stylish, whatever. Anyway, if you've made it this far, I thank you very much. And without further ado, let's get into Claire. All right, everybody, I want to introduce you to Claire Law of Indie Rose Ritual. Indie Rose was birthed just after Claire became a mother, a woman on a mission to learn the mastery of unconditional self-love and devotional practice to the universal energies and planet Earth. Claire created Indie Rose as a tool and a resource to share this deep, intimate relationship. She believes we all have the ability to radically transform ourselves on many levels. By using intent and clear vision, we gain confidence and knowledge of our capacity as limitless spiritual beings. This is the inspiration behind Indie Rose. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wild Women Healers Live. We are with Claire from Indie Rose Rituals, joining us from the future in Australia.
Hello from the future.
It's so good to have you on here. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show.
Thank you for having me. So excited.
So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit and introduce like who you are and what you do for Indie Rose Rituals.
Yes, hello, I'm Claire. I am originally from England, but I live in Australia near Byron Bay, if anyone knows where Byron Bay is. And yeah, I'm the founder of Indie Rose Rituals. And Indie Rose Rituals is growing into this organic brand and offerings and services of ritual tools to ultimately bring women or people, because it's not just for women, back to a state of self-love and deep presence and reverence in their body through beautiful tools that are all crafted with 24 karat gold.
Yeah, I like that part. It's like a little like it just feels luxurious. Like,
yeah, and magic. Gold is very magic. Yeah,
I listened to a couple of your like snippets of the meditations that you sent me, and just listening to those little bits, I was like in a grumpy, tired state, and your voice or something about the vibe you were sending out just put me in a new place. And it was just like the littlest snippet What
That's
like
great.
inspires you to create those?
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, I'm an energy worker. So as an energy worker, everything that I put into everything that's created through Indie Rose is energy, and I put a lot of prayer, and for that to be felt, for anyone who's listening to a meditation, using a tool, wearing the jewelry, coming into a ritual space with me, we're connecting through that energy network. So yeah, and the meditations got created with a beautiful friend of mine who's a music producer. So he actually crafted each music piece because they're only 11 minutes. So it's not something you have to carve out an hour of your time to do.
And a
And
lot
it's
of them are
really,
free, right? You're offering
no,
them.
yeah, there's
Oh,
three of
wow.
them. They tie into the oils. So it's just to give you a deeper understanding of how to use the tool, because our oils, each oil comes with an affirmation. So it's creating that prayer and that intention while touching your body. That's really ultimately is the
Mm.
medicine I'm bringing forth with this, is instead of just slapdash, we just use our bodies so unconsciously a lot of the time. It's bringing that awareness and that medicine back to actually how we can be superior processing machines, superior beings, when we're more present in awareness with how incredibly intelligent our bodies are.
Yeah, that reminds I was looking at your Instagram a couple maybe it was like a month ago or something. It was one of your videos that you shared, and
Mm,
it really spoke to me about, I think you were like focusing on having a conversation with like a headache or a pain in your body. And it was
yeah.
like so interesting to me because I have throughout like this last year
Mm,
or longer have these moments where I'm not feeling well and I'll stop and like give myself some Reiki, but
mm,
I don't know if I've ever stopped and like tried to talk to the pain. But after watching that video,
mm.
I did. And it
Uh,
reminded me a lot of like, have you heard of internal family systems? It's like where you're talking to like your inner child and different parts of
yeah,
yourself.
like family constellations, is that? Yeah, yeah.
It's similar to that. So I was wondering where you got the inspiration for that, and I just wanted you to maybe talk about that a little bit more because I found it so interesting and cool to
Yeah.
not only be aware of their body, but having like
Mm,
a conversation with your body because your body's an oracle, right? It has intuition,
yeah. There's so many messages for us all the time.
and we just don't even
Yeah,
listen.
don't take the time to listen. This level of awareness really dropped in for me when I was pregnant with my daughter. I've got one daughter who's 3.5 years old, and I was on a healing journey before that, exploring mystical modalities and doing self-healing and being held in that transformative journey. But when I found out I was pregnant, everything changed.
How
Just the
so?
whole game changed. It was like I went into a new intelligence in my body where
Mhm.
we'd been connected on a soul level for years, me and my daughter's souls. So we intimately knew each other on a soul level. We'd been
Mhm.
telepathically communicating. And so when that soul and her energy came into my body, it allowed me to not communicate with the soul that was external, but the communication then went into my body. So all the time I had literally all the time. I was working a full-time job as a PA and in the city in Sydney, and I literally always had my hands on my belly, like constant connection and like Reiki, just constant presence with her, like, hey, I'm here. How can I help you? Basically, just
Mhm.
that kind of communication. What do you need from me? Allowing her to know that she's held constantly. But through doing that, what I didn't realize is that I was actually doing that to myself, not just her. So that intelligence and that awareness, I started getting downloads of like, wow, I'm not just communicating to her body, I'm communicating to my body to get to her body, and it just changed everything. I just,
like, as in, like, do I need some water right now? What kind of food should I eat?
yeah, just like, how can we do this in the best possible way in our highest state of being? And that's, I think, where the tagline for Indie Rose really dropped in, is like really getting to your highest state of being, not saying that you can always be in your highest state of being, or trying to create perfectionism by like being a fluffy spiritual, always in this happy state.
Right.
Not reality. But in those down moments, so what I experienced was in moments of burnout, because I went into this as a single mother right from the start and working full time, and all my family were in England. And so I went in with this awareness and this reality of like, wow, I'm going to have to hold a lot. You know, this is going to be big, but I am not going to allow the story of it being big and there may be many challenges to weigh me down. And I knew I had to rise up bigger than ever. So if I got a tickly throat or something was happening in my body, I went to that part of my body just as I went to my daughter in my womb, with this level of love and reverence of like, what do you need? How can I help you?
Oh, I love that. And the body responds, right? It's just like learning how it speaks, how it nudges, right? Because I think it's not always like a crystal clear answer, right?
No.
It's a little bit about learning to navigate the language that your body wants to speak.
Yeah, it might be a certain food it needs, or it might just be like, hey, you're not giving me enough rest. Or usually the answers are really simple. And yeah, meditation's the modality that's really taken me to that level as well, as a daily meditation practice. But just learning the sensations in the body are just sensations, and it's the pattern of the mind that we attach to with a story of like, oh, I'm getting ill, and then the fear kicks in and the nervous system and the immune system goes into a response state, instead of actually being the sovereignty control master first and say, actually, let's decide what's going on here before we respond and react.
Oh yeah, I love that. I think because you could easily, you know, feel that tickle in your throat and then go to like, I have strep throat, or I'm getting flu, or, you know, and it's like, well, maybe it's just allergies. And what is that telling me? Is there something in the air, or do I need to step outside, or, you know, do I need some tea? Or do I just need to like offer some attention?
Right? We always need tea.
So the other part of the name of your company is ritual. And I was just wondering, you know, what does ritual mean to you?
Ritual is the magic. Ritual for me is a process that I don't have set out rituals that are like set in stone, and that's my only rituals that I practice. It's not like a religious practice for me. It's really that superior processing system that I tune into to see what process I need to go through in offering to the co-creation field of myself and the universe around me. And then when I'm in that connective field, it's creating a certain ritual that helps that process of channeling or creating what needs to be created with the universe.
So it's like sort of creating this like sacred container.
Yeah, it's like a sacred wand, like really harnessing that sacred frequency that we have in our bodies and the universe has in everything. So it's this oneness. I see it as like really amplifying that connection of oneness, and then bringing in intention and affirmation and prayer in a devotion.
How do you bring that into like creating your oils?
Well, I just wanted to, you know, again, it stemmed from motherhood of like, you don't really realize how much you can juggle until you become a mum, and you've got the honoring of you as a woman, you've got the honoring of your mother self, you've got the honoring of your business self, as a friend, as a family member, as a community member. It's like you're constantly putting hats on and off, and the simple things in life can be forgotten. You know, a lot of mothers said, oh, I haven't showered in days. And I was just like, that will never happen to me. I will never not have a shower. These things are rituals for me. And
Right.
it was like, so a shower can become a ritual. You don't need to sit for an hour and light 10,000 candles and, you know, sing a song to the universe. That is a powerful, beautiful ritual that I also do, but a ritual of just literally being present with your body and saying beautiful things to it while you touch it for 5 minutes a day can literally transform everything.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I really want to try that. Like, it's like I'm on my own like health journey after, you know, moving, and I just recently quit smoking, and I like focusing on the foods that I'm eating. And it's also about the way I've been noticing the way that I'm talking to myself is not so nice.
Yeah.
It's like about, you know, those 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the shower can sort of like change your whole day. Like it can create this connection with your body and allowing the space to just offer it some kindness.
Yeah, and also in like, wow, in amazement to how blessed and lucky we are to have running water on our bodies.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know, that awareness of like to not just drink or eat or slapdash stuff on your body or do the things that we automatically do, usually without thinking about it, to bring that like childlike awe of like, wow, this is incredible. We have hot water because a couple of 100 years ago they didn't have that.
Yeah, or even now here in the States, like we're facing massive drought in the Southwest.
Same for us in Australia not that long ago, and it can happen like that. And then you really realize the little things that you take for granted become big things that you're actually like, wow.
That's magic, right? Like
That's magic.
bringing your intentions to something as ordinary as just putting some oil on the body.
Because that's the co-creation field of ultimately what my medicine is bringing people back into a connection to Mother Earth. So obviously everything we make is natural without chemicals, and it's from Mother Earth. So if you look at the whole line of how anything's got to this point, the clothes we wear, the table, the desk we're at, the computer, every particle of that is from the earth. And to really bring a respect and an honor and a reverence back to that, to give gratitude back to this incredible abundant being that gives us so much, and we can take from her without giving thanks. And that ultimately is our bodies. When we connect to the earth, we're connected to ourselves, and vice versa.
Oh yeah, totally. That's our, like, I'm a tarot reader, so I get, you know, when the earth stuff comes up, it's not only Mother Nature, but it's definitely body stuff, right? Why do you do it? What gets you going? What makes you inspired to help not only yourself, but you offer this service to others?
That's an amazing question. It really came back from, because before I became pregnant, I was on this journey of I wanted to save the oceans, and I was about to start a business using music and arts to create awareness of like, don't drop litter, pick up litter, keep the oceans clean. And I noticed this energetic exchange as soon as I became pregnant of like, okay, I have to prioritize myself right now to ensure I don't get burnt out. And I saw a lot of people in that sphere of trying to protect the earth that weren't actually loving themselves. And it was the magic penny drop for me personally, that unless your cup is full on a daily level and you devote to that, you can't abundantly give to anything or anyone really. you're giving from a place of lack, and you can so quickly become energetically and physically burnt out. And that was just my intention to myself and my daughter, that I said, I will never allow myself to be burnt out. Of course, I'm going to have moments like everyone of up and down, but I devote myself to learning the tools. And ultimately, the bigger picture for me is when women come back to a place of full sovereignty and love for themselves, then the ripple effect of that for their families, and then going out to their villages, in their towns, in their countries, and the global universal effect of that is going to change everything.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that change starts at home. Like, there is protesting and massive out in the world kind of change is really important.
Yeah.
But it's not for everybody, right? Like, everybody has different roles. And I think that there are the mothers, right? The caretakers out there who have these really important roles to give. And that is like the Mother Earth role. That makes so much sense to me, that like, how could you offer the earth anything if you're treating your body so badly? You know, you're polluting yourself, so then you're of course going to be polluting the earth, right? That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and that comes down to like what you're putting on your body, chemical ingredients, and I'm an ex-smoker as well, and that smoking to me used to be a ritual. That was actually
Oh yeah. I loved smoking, and I had to just like no longer loved me back.
It gets to a point where you're actually abusing not only that plant, but you're abusing yourself.
Yeah, it was abuse. It was definitely an abuse, because it was an addiction, and it was still, I'm only 2 weeks free, and I'm or maybe a little bit longer now, but last week was the detoxing, and I thought I was getting sick. I thought I was like dying. It was just all of these horrible feelings. And I was like, no, this is your body working to be like, oh, you're not putting this poison in me anymore. Right.
Yeah.
But it is a ritual, but it can get abused. And, it's definitely sold that way. Not as a ritual, it's sold as this like unsacred tool. But it, like, I think there's a balance out there that I just couldn't find with it.
My motto is quality, not quantity, and that's really makes sense to me the more and more I go on this journey of like, I don't just want to create products, because there's a lot of stuff on the earth right now. I want to create this service and this ritual offering where the tools and the products are just a tool and a gateway to get a deeper access to your energetical body.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The deeper you go, the more you want to purify. It's like the more you want to just like you just constantly like this cleaning process. Like when I clean my house, I'm energetically cleaning myself as well. And that's just this constant purification on a daily level, of whether it be meditation, setting an intention, drinking beautiful teas and organic food, to just bring this energy purification through your body on all the levels is what I'm really interested in.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of like, yoga was my gateway drug, so it's how I started on my path, and so it's a lot of that philosophy is where I go back to. So what you're talking about reminds me of the yoga idea of Santosha, which is inward cleanliness equals outward cleanliness, and vice versa. So if you're looking around your home and you're like, this place is disgusting, it's sort of a reflection of what's going on inside. And it can work the other way around, right? As if you cleaning your space, you're also helping your mental health. Right?
Yeah, and it brings back, it's that magic. That's what I'm really interested in bringing people deeper into, is like when you start really seeing the magic of your internal body, of like, wow, this body, this soul, this awareness that we live in a universe on a planet floating through space is incredible. And you get to start feeling your body. When I first did my first Vipassana, which is a 10-day silent meditation retreat, I felt my body for the first time, and it blew my mind. I was just like, how have I got to 30 years without knowing how to feel my body? And then when you step outside,
yeah,
and you look to the sky and the trees, and you're just like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, you can really return to this childlike innocence, wonderment, and I think we lose it all the time, right?
Yeah.
I think also because you're a mom, you have a daughter reminding you of it, right? Like
how magic life is, and how truly grateful we are to experience it in the magnitude of all of its challenges, all the ups and downs. There's always something. There's always a nugget of gold. I see. There's always a silver lining, and that the gold for me is the representation of that. That there's, no matter what you're going through in a challenge of life, there can always be a gem right there to be found, to illuminate you, to illuminate everything you've learned so far.
Yeah, it's like even in dark moments, you're saying like you could kind of find those little nuggets of glimmers of hope or gratitude for something.
And those little tiny little, I see gold as, you can find a solid gold nugget if you're lucky in the earth.
Lucky.
Solid gold, but then that can be melted down to a liquid, and then that can be rolled and pressed so thin to make the gold leaf that when you apply that gold leaf to your body, it disappears. Something that goes so solid can just like go into particles of dust and vanish. So sometimes in life you feel like you've got that big solid gold nugget and everything's a celebration, but other times you might not even be able to see the gold. You might not be able to see the luminous self, or the gratitude or the celebration for life. It can just be a dark moment, but it's still there. The alchemy of that gold is still there. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I really like that. Would you say that this is sort of a tough question, so if you don't have a quick answer for it, it's okay. But I was wondering, as you're speaking, I'm hearing that a lot of everything that you do sort of is centered around this idea of like ritual and intention. What you offer yourself. Would you say that that's sort of your motto, or like, do you have like a little mantra that you're working with right now, or is that like, is there something that just keeps you going? Do you see what I'm trying to? I'm sorry, I'm not forming my question very good.
No, I totally hope I see through that question, but yeah, there is. I see myself as a guardian for creation, a guardian for sacred. So that's what keeps me going every day, is my devotion to the sacred energies of life, death, this existence, this world and the afterworlds, and all the dimensional aspects that live in between that. I'm a guardian in that sacred grid, in that sacred network. So yeah, that keeps me going every day personally, and it just keeps opening up this magic download portal of what needs to come through is my offering. It's everything I do is a co-creation with the universe. I'm just opening myself up. I had no idea. This was not on my radar before becoming a mum.
That was like that was like what opened you up. Your whole world was mom.
I was on the sacred path, but I had no idea of like what my guardianship was ultimately to discover all the layers of love. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody, I think that a lot of people find this channel, I get a lot of comments from people like, I think spirit led me here. And it gives me goosebumps, because you put out work and you hope that people resonate with it. And there's all different types of healers and people that I focus on here, and only hoping to expand it. But I think that there are a lot of people that find this channel that are just like a little bit lost, and they're just starting their journey. So I was just wondering what advice you would have for somebody who is in like maybe that underworld journey right now, or a little bit lost, like they know there's something out there for me, but they can't quite find their purpose yet. I know it's a heavy question, but for somebody who found it through pregnancy.
I love it. Yeah. We've all got dark nights of the soul to pass through, and some of them are really horrific. I've been there. I've been in deep, deep trauma cycles of excruciating pain over the years where I just didn't think there was any hope or any way of finding myself, being completely lost to everything, just complete. And one of my guardians and the guiding force that I met in Miami, actually in America back in 2009, it's a big story, but he said to me, he led me to this moment of awareness of finding pinnacle moments in life where you hit a crossroad, where you just have no idea where you are going. You're lost, but you energetically or physically hit a crossroad and you've got to make that decision. So I would say just always know that there's a choice, and there's always one way or the other way you can turn. And no turning is right or wrong, just go. Just be brave. And if you feel you've been led to something, that's then a choice. Are you going to learn something and follow that route, or are you going to go another way and just keep following the pinnacle moments?
Yeah, like taking a step in a direction is better than, or will it lead you to the next step?
Yeah. And embrace the mystery. I think that's enough.
That's tough. Getting uncomfortable in the not knowing.
Yeah, give yourself to whatever it is, whether it's God or spirit or angels, or just give yourself to that co-creation field and know that's something someone is going to step up to hold you. I think we can feel alone on that journey in the dark nights of the soul, and
that's
someone is just
the reason why I made this project, is because you can feel so alone out there.
Alone,
and you're really not. You've got your guides, you've got your spiritual team, whoever it is that you work with, Mother Nature, your body, other people who have experienced similar or similar but different different types of paths. And so it can feel really lonely. So it's just about like reaching out and experimenting. At least that's the way I feel about it.
I feel that as well. Asking is the biggest.
Ask
questions into the sky in despair, or whether it's a silent prayer, just ask. Just keep asking.
Well, thank you so much. I have just one more question for you before we wrap up. But what are you co-creating next? Is there anything new coming up in the horizon that you feel like sharing, or you're keeping it under?
There is. We're kind of doing a bit of a launch, an official launch with new oils and new packaging on a physical level. But also within the next month, we're launching our ritual space. So this is going to be a physical
place?
A physical, well, obviously at the moment it's quite hard to do physical stuff around the world, but it's going to be an online spectrum of monthly gatherings for people that want to go really deeper into the ritual aspect and harnessing the energy of the moons and these rituals that you can do. So that's going to be launching, and there's a couple of courses that you can do, just like over a couple of days at your own pace, like an introductory into the deeper layer of rituals and working with certain frequencies. So working with the gold and ritual mastery. So golden alchemy and ritual mastery are coming out as a do at your own pace, just introductory level. And then we'll kind of have a membership portal where we'll meet all together and go deeper into monthly rituals.
That sounds awesome. I can, as you're talking about it, I can see it, and I just feel like it's going to expand so much.
Yeah, there's going to be lots of guest speakers, and it's going to be a really beautiful community for those people that don't want to feel alone and they want to really step into some magic together and self-healing and self-regulating.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of my little experiment here at Wild Women Healers Live.
Yeah, what you're doing is incredible. And I was so inspired watching. I've watched all of your episodes, and it's just, I really support you in what you're doing.
I appreciate that.